6:31. Roll call. Here.
Here. Step on here. You're good.
Do I read the minutes? Do you read the minutes?
Whoever wrote them.
I wrote.
Wait a minute, she should be leading.
I was gonna ask, I was like, I'm just
I
checking,
was-
was that?
I did
I
the
let
last
you lead,
couple.
yeah, I let you do the last one because she
She
wasn't
wasn't
here.
here, okay, I was saying, okay.
Alright, past meeting minutes.
There you go.
Approved past meeting minutes, February 12th, 2025. Minute meetings were approved. Joy Kiskading motioned. Dustin second. April 15th, 2025 meeting was canceled. The old business, we didn't have any. New business, fundraising ideas, the fire department proposed a gun raffle. Dollars would go towards a new brush truck or grass rig, approximately $200,000. Gun company would supply the guns. The fire department and township board would work on additional raffle items, auction items, pull tabs, etc., to bring in additional dollars. Goal would be to sell 300 tickets at a price to be determined. Fire department would approve a meal, pork chop dinner was proposed. Dates mentioned were August, September, or January, February of 26. That will determine on the availability of the gun company. The fire department would need to have a 501c3 status. They are checking on that. Researching for someone with an off-site liquor license to provide alcoholic beverages. Event has been tabled until more information has been provided by the fire department. Upcoming meetings will be the quarterly meeting, July 8th and October 14th. Next meeting, July 25th, 2025 at 6:30, and we adjourned at 7:12. Does anyone approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
Second,
Motions to approve?
these are not, we just scratched that? Oh, I didn't change those. We don't even have them on there. I had no idea.
We don't have to have their names labeled, do we?
No.
Okay, well, there's, for ease.
Okay. Moving on to old business. Oh, what?
Me.
Sorry.
You're all good.
We're doing,
I have like
Megan
my
will
teleprompter.
discuss, okay, yes.
Moving on to old
we're
business.
doing great for our first time on the.
So we're gonna go through the fundraiser update.
Right. Oh, here, I'll just sign this.
Do we have a fundraiser update?
Yeah, so Ann checked and C3 or C4 can apply for a gaming license, right? So you actually have to apply to apply. So they have applied to apply. You have to apply and they have to say, yes, you qualify to apply, and then you apply.
So in essence, you have to show that you're approved, you have
Before
to
they'll-
pre-qualify.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So they have applied for the pre-qualification, and they're just waiting to hear back from that. This is the email I got, from Ron. He says, I spoke with Matt Stone, the chief at Marion Volunteer Fire Department in Millhausen, Indiana. They are the ones holding the raffle we attend annually. They begin pre-planning their event with AAR, which is the company, a couple of weeks after the event. They discuss overall success and misses for the year and needs and wants to change for next year. Typically, they begin ramping up about 6 months out. Their previous gun dealer no longer participates in raffle type events, but I did get the name of a current dealer in Greenwood or Columbus, Indiana. They prepay for all of their items raffled, including guns, safes, coolers, etc. They reach out and lock in their gun selections 3 to 4 months in advance prior to sending out the raffle flyer with selections. This is their largest moneymaker for the year, and without this event, they would not be able to continue functioning. They stated at the high end, they make mid-20s, and at the low end, mid-teens, and thousands in profit. He stated they renew their gaming license annually, which also costs them between $1,000 and $1,500, as it is based on the amount of funds they bring in from their gaming events, which I was not privy to any of that kind of stuff. That was interesting, I thought. This typically is a 3-month process, 3-month-ish process to renew. He stated their initial process took them 8 months. He also stated donations that they raffle have dwindled completely. No one really wants to donate anymore. I don't know their reach or efforts, that does not seem unreasonably with how things are lately. So what they're saying is by the time they get their approval and then the main approval, we're probably looking at like, it'd be next year, probably a year, right? So that was their update, and they did also send a query about changing from a C4 to a C3 to the IRS to see how to start that process. Because then at least, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're C3 and someone donates something for the raffle, they can write it off. But if you're C4, they can't. Is that correct? Okay.
Oh, okay, so it'd help us get donations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've looked into doing that also.
So is that low, so they are a C4
They're a C4,
okay, current,
and they're looking into how they can switch it to a C3.
gotcha. And can I have a copy of that so I can put it in I won't put the whole thing in our minutes, but I'll just.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from what you read, that differs from what they understood when they were talking to you, that they have to prepay for those guns. And
Yeah, the old company
you
they
had
dealt with,
discussed maybe getting a safe at a discount.
yeah.
But all of those items, they're prepaid, so
Yeah.
we'll have to have sufficient funds to do that.
The safe we would not have to prepay for. I have a good enough relationship with them. I can tell you that. I've already had a 30,000 foot view conversation about doing something like this. He's been involved in these other things, other kind of charity things. They have a deal. We have a few different options with that. We can pick a safe, or we can pick a dollar amount. He'll bring one in, put it on display, and say, you can win this one, or 2,000 off whatever safe
Oh,
that
nice.
you wanna go buy, and that's all a stated value,
And
and
they just have
then-
to pay for it to be moved.
and they would have to pay for it to be, and, yeah, unless we wanted to pay for, or, or we could, whatever, we could figure out, if we covered the first $500 of moving, or, we have so many options in there.
Okay.
So, we have unlimited options there, so, will be the easiest part of this whole deal.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness something's easy.
Did the fire department act, do you know if funding this upfront will be an issue for them?
We'll have to fund
Oh,
it. They
we
won't
will
have the
have
money
to?
to fund it,
Okay.
yeah.
That's where, we gotta go, that's where the understanding is the money's being donated to them, but because we're funding it, I think we need to have control on how the money's spent. Or
Oh,
at least-
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that,
I think they're good with that.
yeah,
As long as we're putting money towards the fire
Yeah.
department. I'm not gonna take the money and put it towards the cemeteries,
Right.
but,
correct. Yeah.
Is someone starting to get together a budget? You guys talked about that?
I mean, we have money in our rainy day that I think would be sufficient
yeah.
to do that.
We
We
did
never,
Start to put a budget together as in, if we have X amount of guns at X dollars per gun, this is what it's gonna cost.
We have not got that far yet.
No, yeah,
because
okay.
And
we talked the last meeting about a budget of what we would spend on the whole thing to pull it off. And
But I don't think after the last meeting that you had enough information to begin to even think about a budget. And right now, I would tell you that you're still not at a point to think about a budget because you don't know that the Department of Revenue is going to qualify them
Right.
for a charitable what the budget is that you're willing to put into it, knowing that they're able to go forward with this project.
Kind of where I'm getting to, yeah. So who's gonna do that?
Hi.
Okay. All right, anything else on the fundraiser?
I don't think I have anything else. So you and I talked when I stopped and picked up my check, and I was trying to remember if there's anything else that you and I talked about then or not. And I don't think there was. I think we've covered it all.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we go to do the budget, I mean, I'll have to use Ron and Brian and Dustin as reference and talk to the company, because I never even attended one of these before, so.
Got it. All right, moving on to new business, the mid-year financial report.
So, we're doing really good. So of course, because we finally have some money in the bank, of course, we just got our big deposits for our June settlements, so that's why it looks exceptionally good. But we're doing good with our money. I know that we're gonna have some things in firefighting, because the guys we haven't bought virtually anything, we haven't bought hoses, the only thing we do consistently buy is a couple sets of turnout gear, because they're only good for so long, so we're on a rotation with that. But there are things that are gonna have to, and that we're gonna have to buy, and we'll put those two numbers down in the capital improvement plan. But, I've been really happy with the fact that, they said we were supposed to have 6 months to a year of our budget and savings, and I think we're doing pretty good. We're right. Most of our numbers are that we're around, it averages about 65% that we've spent, or that we have left for the next 6 months of the year. I did put for the debt services, it looks like I haven't made any payments. I just made the first payment on that, just yesterday, because it's due July 15th in
That's
December.
just the building, right?
That's the building payment, yeah.
And the fire or the ambulance?
That's
would
the
be
ambulance, yeah.
equipment. The fire equipment loan is the ambulance?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But they mail those so close. Like, I got it in the mail yesterday and it's due on the 15th. I'm like, why can't you? I mean, I write the check as soon as it comes in, but it's like, they give me a little longer than 7
Two
days.
yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I think we're doing good. We're getting to the cash reserves that we've been told we should have. So, anybody have any questions?
These percentages is what we have left.
What
not
we have
spent,
left,
right? I
correct.
haven't done the math. Just making
No,
sure.
it's what we have left.
Okay, thank you.
And that's, what's left in the budget.
Okay. So is there any area where doesn't look like where you spent more than you would have expected?
No,
I mean, it's not one of those things where you've got 5 that you're doing great and 1 that's bad. We're doing good in all of them,
Yeah.
it looks like.
exactly.
Okay, good. Township assistance being the lowest.
And with township assistance, that one we always spend more in the second half of the, well, not always. As a general rule, we spend more in the second half of the year than the first, because the first half they're getting their tax returns and that kind of stuff. And the second half you have Thanksgiving and Christmas and heat. Yes.
So it seems early, but it's really not, because we're gonna talk about budget hearing meetings, which will be our next meetings coming up, right?
We are actually gonna have to have one more meeting. I can't remember if I put that in the email in September.
You might have, I've read some
Yeah.
emails between now and then.
You guys wanna go ahead and sign that? I mean, it's not a legal document, but
My only question, all of anything that, any place where, like, we need to, what do we need to take from these numbers to be considering for next year?
Honestly, since 2027 is gonna be so precarious, potentially, I don't know that I would change the budget for next year much from what we have this year. Because 2027 is when they're going to cut back our lit, but we have no idea how much. And our township fund is completely funded by lit. So,
Well, I don't wanna increase, so that's what I wanted to hear, that you think we could do next year.
yeah, I don't foresee where we would need to raise anything for next year.
Okay.
Well,
Perfect.
why were they
Love to
cutting
hear
back
that.
the lit?
Senate Bill 1,
I'm sorry, what?
Senate Bill
Yeah,
1.
SD one. Have you read it? It's only like 1,100 pages.
Did it in an hour?
I'm doubting half our lawmakers have read it.
Oh, I guarantee you they haven't. There's no way they read it before they signed it,
Oh,
because
wait a
it
minute, I
was,
just said
it
that
went
on the
too
internet,
quick.
didn't
And
I?
for those who read it, I don't know how they understood it, because I've attempted to go through it, and I still can't tell you that I understood the majority of it.
And you were on a time crunch, so.
Right, I mean, it's sad. And when you talk to, legislators and accountants and bond people and other lawyers who are really trying to read it and figure it out, I get different opinions, and then I get a lot of really intelligent people telling me, I just don't know. I just don't know about this part and that part and that part. I just don't know.
I went to a meeting last Monday, and it was the Indiana Township Association, the DLGF, the, attorney for the Indiana Township Association, which is Jeff Bellamy, and then, is it Conrad McCune? Who is the accounting firm, I think for ITA, and I don't know, it seems like they're accounting firm for a whole bunch of people. But when people would ask them questions, it was constantly, I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I had, that's a very good question. There's 3 sessions that will take place before some of this stuff is even put in place. I wish I had an answer. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
We're on the internet, I'll keep my editorial to myself. Not that I'm seeking higher offers or anything.
I know that, ITA was really disappointed because they were talking with some of the legislators. Someone threw out this huge number that townships were sitting on. It was like $750 million. And they went to them and they were like, that is not a correct number. What they did is they took, my understanding is everyone's cash balances, like in December when everybody had just got their December settlement, and added all that up, not taking out that they have bills to pay, they have bonds to pay, they have salaries to pay, they didn't take anything out of it. They just said, well, look how much money they have. They all just got paychecks and look how much money they have. And I was talking to the trustee in Carmel, and he was saying they have like $93 million in bonds. Well, you can't just say, look at all this money they have.
Yeah.
And so that's why the capital improvement plan and road and infrastructure, which is on our agenda after we set budget hearings. That's part of the reason, my understanding, they're saying you have all this money and we would like it. So, we don't have all this money. Even the big townships have money, more than us, but
Yeah,
nobody's
bills like
sitting on that
everybody
kind of
else,
money, yeah. So, and they were told also that they would be, they could be in on how SB 1 was going. And And they said, okay, and they spent 2 or 3 different meetings trying to write amendments. And then the night before it hit the floor, Debbie Driscoll called and was like, hey, I just pulled the whatever docket or whatever, and our amendment's not on there. And the guy who had been dealing with him the whole time was like, yeah, I decided I'm not doing that. And just dropped him the night before. So there was a lot of ill will in the last session, is my understanding. There was a lot of people who lost respect for a lot of people who were working down there. Nice, yeah.
So there's a lot of angst and a lot of unknowns. And frankly, you're just gonna have to deal with unknowns for a while, because it's gonna take time before we really know the full impact of that bill. And we may not know next year. And we may figure it out and it may change next year.
Can I ask a dumb
It's a
question?
brave new world. I don't know that there is a dumb question, but you
Well,
may.
I understand we don't know what the unintended consequences of this are, but what was the intended purpose of this? Or what are they saying the
Robbing
intended purpose
Peter's
of
Cake
this?
Hall is my opinion what they're doing.
There had to be a reason somebody thought it was a good idea. And maybe you don't know the answer, I'm just asking.
So I know of 2 issues that are present for, Senate Bill 1. One is property tax reform, obviously. As to townships are impacted because there is a theme of, amongst some downtown about,
Doing away.
doing away, or at least not having as much control at the very bottom of the local level, and that it could be done better at that level or with more oversight. And I think that's part of why some of these new requirements are in there, and why some other things didn't get in there. It has to do with that long term, you said it, there's some who'd like to totally do away with township government.
Okay.
And you figure if they're giving everybody, what, $300 or $500 break on their property taxes, it's not gonna make a huge difference to any one person, but when you look at how much money that's not gonna be collected by the state, they have to make up for it somehow.
I'm not convinced that this wasn't a magician act on property taxes anyways. Because our county has already sent me a letter informing me that my geothermal deduction is going away.
Oh, they're getting rid of a lot of deductions.
So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we give you a $500 credit
Uh-huh.
here, but we took
It's a
10.
shell game.
Yes, they took 10 deductions away from me that I'm betting it adds up to more next year.
That's my guess too.
You know. I don't see you disagreeing. I'm not very smart, but I figured out a couple things in
Yeah,
this world, so.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so on that, let's set some budget hearing and adoption meeting dates.
All right, I can already tell you that the 14th that was listed for us is bad, because that is, Southeastern's fall break. And my wife is trying real hard to find someplace for us to go.
Does she want you to go?
There's a good question.
I couldn't answer that. She would probably go without me or the kids, and just take a week off.
I'm sorry. That's an unkind question
No.
for me to ask.
No, it wasn't. She
So
deserves it.
the week of October 13th through the 17th
Is out.
is out, okay. When do we need to have,
So we need
The
to,
first
that first
budget
meeting
hearing.
needs to be before that.
okay? we have 2 meetings for this prior to
Yes,
last time?
that is correct.
Yeah, you have to have a hearing meeting and an adoption meeting, 10 days apart.
So, maybe if we start with the later one. So, if you did October 7th and September 23rd?
The fire department will be in this room on the 23rd. I don't know if that'll matter, we'd have to meet in the little room.
I don't know, our crowd is overwhelming.
I just wanna put that out there, just.
23rd, yeah, okay. I come back in town on the 21st, so I'm good there.
I'm fine on the 23rd, on the 27th, I mean, on the 7th, I am not. But I don't know if that's, the first meeting.
The first meeting, yeah.
Yeah, you may be able to just do that.
Yeah, the second meeting, which is usually just signing it, cause we've
Yeah.
done the hearing.
On the 23rd, but on the 7th, I'll be out of the country.
Where you going, ma'am?
Penny?
I'll carry your bags for you.
Alright, so we're.
Is everybody good on the 23rd? Joy, are you good?
Yep.
I say, it sounds like we need to do that because she's gonna be out of town, so we don't wanna go late,
Yeah,
we wanna go
I'm out
sooner.
the 25th, so 23rd's good.
Where are you going?
Marco.
Polo.
Polo.
Island.
I'm in Tampa the 17th through the 21st.
Oh, come on, people.
I'm here.
Why go to lunch? Cause we're gonna be the only ones here.
Sounds great.
So
Oh, my
we're
goodness.
saying September 23rd,
23rd.
So that's for the budget hearing.
that's the, public meeting, whatever that's actually called, I always forget. Budget hearing, yeah. And the adoption, we're saying is October the 7th. And we're doing both of those at 6:30,
You say so.
that's a question.
I'm good either. As of right now. Watch, my husband's gonna throw something in there. That's probably the weekend he wants me to go to Vegas.
See, she is going somewhere, I know.
You know, I've already said, no, I'm not going. He's going out to play in a golf tournament for Pete's sake. He doesn't need me there.
Alright, September 23rd and October 7th.
October 7th?
Mm-hmm.
And that's good with you, you're saying, because you have to have the adoption done, or the budget done by the 23rd.
Yeah.
That's not a problem for you, right?
No, we're having our meeting in August, right? With the DLGF.
Right. I guess that was, I should have asked her for now, but. Neat.
And then we do have to set, well, actually, at the budget hearing, we could have them approve the capital improvement plan. Yes.
So we
Okay,
can
we don't
tell
have to
them
do an
about that.
additional meeting. That works out perfect.
Alright, so let's talk about the capital improvement plan.
So the capital improvement plan is, all townships are required to do this annually now. And what you have to do is essentially tell them what you're doing with any money not in your budget. And it has to be,
Well, and
so
if you're unrestricted.
unrestricted funds. So capital and unrestricted funds would be rainy day and township.
Okay.
Okay? So capital improvement plan and the road and infrastructure fund kind of go together. So we're required to now open a road and infrastructure fund. And so this was a slide that they put up at the meeting I went to last Monday. And so this is kind of, at least Abby, who works for the accounting firm, this is how she sees this going. So December 31st, you take your cash balances, add the estimated revenues that you're gonna get in the coming year. Then you deduct the budget for, so this would be, so December 31st of 2025, we say, here's how much cash, what our cash balance is. Then the DLGF will estimate what our revenues will be next year, you have to add those in, and then you subtract out our whole budget,
What you're gonna spend.
what we're gonna spend. And then you can also, it says deduct encumbrances, purchase orders, things that you haven't paid yet. And then deduct planned expenditures from your capital improvement plan. And whatever money is left over, 30% of it you have to put in this road and infrastructure fund that the county or Noblesville could come by and say, hey, we'd like that money, we're gonna work on those roads down there, we'd like your money in that fund. And we, as the board, have the right to say yes or no, is what I've been told.
For now.
Exactly. When they said that, I was like, there's no way
So you
that's
say
gonna work.
no the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what they were, and obviously, because no one really understands what's going on, you know, like, they said, they think you'll have the right to say, well, we're not interested in that, but if you put sidewalks down here, we'd be interested in that. But nobody really knows how it's gonna play out. But so that's why you have to write a capital improvement plan, and it needs to be big enough, obviously, to encumber or to take up virtually all the
You don't
money.
want any money going in the road fund.
We don't want any money going into the road fund. It's just a hoop.
I can
there.
absolutely tell you we don't want that, cause that's
Yeah.
another reason for somebody to annex us.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So you need, what is it, a tanker truck, and you need a crash fire truck, and they're putting in a couple developments, I understand, so you probably need to add on to the building so that you have room to store the tanker truck and the new crash
The
fire.
capital improvement,
Sure.
does it just have to be equipment or can it be planned expansion of people?
It's not people, it's capital improvement, so we can expand.
We could say we
it.
want a fountain, we wanna put a fountain in the pond.
We're not putting in a fountain, but you can aerate. the fountain. But you can aerate.
Okay, we need an
the
aerator.
Words are
Oh.
important.
right.
Because.
Yeah, because of algae and,
Because of algae
Yep.
and other bad things that are happening out there, we can acquire some additional real estate because we're gonna have to, we know, expand out here